But we're going to get into that. So I got a presentation here. That I was asked to read this, so, some of the language that you might see here might be a little bit foreign to some of us, but nonetheless, it's just, make sure I got this thing. Make sure I got the paperwork here so I could read it. Goodness. All right. Let's see who's. All right. So this is the, like I said, Rabbi Matthew was born in 1892. Let me just read from the paper. Rabbi Wentworth Arthur Matthew. So we usually see Rabbi W.A. Matthew. It's not Rabbi Matthews, but Rabbi Matthew. No S. So he said, never forget the bridge that has carried you safely across the boundaries of your ignorance. So never forget the bridge that has brought you across the boundaries of your ignorance, because it's like, don't burn the bridges that you came across. Basically, because you might need to go back and reach and need some help from those people, right? So this is a quote that he was known for, and that was given. It says, Rabbi Wentworth Arthur Matthew was born in 1892 in the U.S. Virgin Islands exactly 132 years ago tomorrow. So tomorrow will make 132 years because his birthday is on June 23rd. He married the love of his life, Florence Doucher Lewi, in 1912, 1 year before emigrating to New York City. The two have 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter, who would later become the mother of Rabbi David Doré, attorney. So this is the tree. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but basically what you see here is the tree would be commandment keepers, Ethiopian Hebrew congregation of the living God, pillar of ground and truth. Why they have such a long name is a long story. I don't want to get into it right now, but it is a long name. Chief Rabbi Wentworth Arthur Matthew. So you see all of the congregations that come off that tree, or Ami, which is located in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. Beit Shalom, which is still operating, that's on Willoughby, right? Beit Shalom. You got Beit Elohim, which is still in Queens, New York. That's under the, I think Rabbi Shalomo and Rabbi Benjamin. You know Rabbi Benjamin, who came to our Unity Shabbat and sang Jacob's Ladder? Well, his father was the founder of Beit Elohim. Beit Shalom also was founded by Rabbi Levi ben Levi, that's his name, Levi. He was good friends with Cohen Levy. They knew each other from Astoria Projects, if I'm not mistaken. They knew each other. They got along. I believe they even got twin rings made for each other, because one was Cohen Levy, ben Levi Yisrael, and the other one was Rabbi Levi ben Levi. But, they went into different ways. We all know that Cohen Levy started with as a quote-unquote black Jew, and then he moved away from that sort of understanding. But still, all in all, they remain as friends. So Rabbi Levi ben Levi first created Beit Shalom. He founded Beit Shalom, and then he founded Beit Elohim in Queens. So Beit Shalom is still on Willoughby. Beit HaTefillah, I don't know what that congregation is. Ben Yadako Beit Yisrael, we know that was on Patchen and Green. They going through some renovations now. Mount Horeb, Hashaba Yisrael, which is the congregation that Cohen Levy founded. And as we go on later, we'll see what spawned off of Hashaba Yisrael. Temple Zion, Kol Sherit, which is when Cohen Levi and he left Beni Adat, he left with a man by the name of Mori Yosef. Not the Mori Yosef that we know, from Trinidad, not that Mori Yosef. But this was a Mori Yosef. It's an elder man. He's no longer with us. He and Cohen Levi, they left with a group of people. They left Beni Adat together. And Cohen Levi spawned off and created Hashaba Yisrael, and Mori Yosef created Kol Sherit, which is on, what's the name of that street in the Bronx? Little lower, I forgot how. Longfellow, right? Longfellow. I think that's the name. Yeah, that's the name of the avenue. Right by the train tracks. Right by the train tracks. So I don't think they're active anymore, but I think the physical building is still there. But I could be mistaken with that. You got Beit Shalom Ben Azakin, that's Rabbi Fune. Hebrew Israelites around the world, you got places in the islands and people that came from Rabbi Matthew's tree. CHOKMAH Yisrael, you see us also on the tree because we would, through Cohen Levi, Prince Paul, and people like that, we would be a branch off that tree. Mount Horeb, you will also have, I'm not sure about Kwahal Yisrael. I'm not sure because that was Adon Boaz. I know that Mor Mishal was the teacher there for a while, but I know Adon Boaz was the one that, Ben Zavulun was the one that actually founded that place. So now we go on. So Rabbi Dore, that's Rabbi Matthew's grandson. Rabbi Matthew and grandson Rabbi David Dore, he's an attorney. I believe that at that time he was the youngest person that became a rabbi under the board of rabbis that they had at that time, that they created, the school that they created, the Israelite school that they created at that time, the Hebrew school, to make rabbis. Right? I know some of this stuff is foreign to us, but this is where the tree comes from. And you can, like it says, you can't burn those bridges that you came across. You have to remember them, and we moving forward, but we remember where we come from. It says here, after arriving in the States, Matthew attended many theological schools, feeding his strong desire for knowledge of the true and living God in Torah. In the early 19s, that means in the early 19 teens, like 1913 or something like that, or 12, he came to the United States. He and his contemporaries found themselves preaching on the soapboxes of Harlem to the many knowledge-hungry masses of young people there. Many of Matthew's early followers were Garveyites, people inspired by the movement led by Marcus Garvey. He surrounded himself with like-minded people who shared his vision, some of whom will later become elders in our community. So this is the Honorable Marcus Josiah Garvey, founder of the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who made a great mark during the late 1900s and the 1920s, created a great movement that gave black people in America gave black people pride. Gave black people pride in America. Gave them a lot of pride. So a lot of the people who became part of Rabbi Matthew's congregation also were Garveyites, and the Universal Negro Improvement Association was a great movement during that time. If you know the story of Marcus Garvey, he was the IRS, I believe, I forgot what it was, the FBI, they locked him up, and then they deported him back to Jamaica, and some time went on, and later he passed away. So the connection with us and Marcus Garvey, Rabbi Josiah Ford he was basically the music maker for the UNIA. So we're going to get into Rabbi Josiah Ford as I continue to read. It says here, in 1919, just over 50 years after slavery was abolished in the U.S., he and his associates opened Commandment Keepers Ethiopian Hebrew Congregation Pillar of Ground in Truth in Harlem, incorporated in 1921. So he came to the U.S. when he was like 22 years old, 21, 22 years old. 6 years later, he created, which was 1919, he created Commandment Keepers. 1921, they were incorporated. That was like 8 years later. So it shows you his timeline. He was a young man, and in that period of time, he began to go out there and gather people and to get people to the knowledge of the true and living God. That means in your youth, you're supposed to give your strength to God. In your youth, you're supposed to be seeing what's going to be your move and what impression you're going to make, because that's when God wants you, when you're nice and strong and you could do everything. Yes, he wants us as elders, but certain Levites had to retire at 50. That means you lost some steps, Jack. Right? We need that young strength. That's why basketball players got to retire at a certain time, because the realization has come to them that what? You ain't got it no more, Jack. You got it mentally, but physically you don't have it. So the strength and that you need to continue to keep carrying on. Like right now, I'm standing right here. My legs is hurting. You know what I mean? My legs is hurting. But I'm good. Not like my knees is hurting, but you know, after a while, just standing after a while. That's why you see me moving around a lot. You see me move a lot so that legs stay loose. You know what I mean? Because of you get cramps in your legs, all type of stuff start happening to you. But yes, these men started very young. It says here, in Harlem, incorporated in 1921, he was only 27 years old. During that time, Matthew became close with Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford. That's Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford, Congregation Beit Avraham. You see that turban? We still wear that turban style today. So the thing with Rabbi Josiah Ford is, I believe there was a movement between his congregation, Beit Avraham, and Commandment Keepers to go back to Ethiopia. When they went back to Ethiopia, some of the members of Commandment Keepers went. He went, but he died there in the 1930s. Rabbi Josiah Ford passed away in Ethiopia because they were trying to get closer to the land. Like I told you, Ethiopia was south of actual Israel. So leaving, going back there, that was their gateway to get back into the land. But unfortunately, he didn't make it. Right? He passed away before he was able to accomplish that dream. But before he did that, he did ordain. He did send the Samika, which is an ordination letter for Rabbi Ford to become an official rabbi. So we're going to get to that. It says right here. He taught Hebrew. All right. Ford was the musical director and the luminary in the Universal Negro Improvement Association. So he was the musical director for Marcus Garvey's movement. He taught Hebrew and religious studies to some clergy in Harlem. He also assisted Rabbi Matthew in his congregation before starting his own. Commandment Keepers congregation did employ a few Hebrew Pentecostal practices only because they acted as a bridge for many of the congregants who were coming out of Christianity. However, a man by the name of Jake Fleckovich arranged for Matthew to access formal rabbinical training at a number of Jewish theological seminaries, both here and in Europe. So we got to speak the truth. We have to speak the reality of where they got a lot of their stuff from. So this is what they sent for me to read. It says here, after Ford immigrated to Ethiopia with his congregation, he became instrumental in Matthew getting his Samika, a certificate of rabbinic ordination, from the rabbinical authorities in Ethiopia in June of 1931. Also, a letter was sent to Matthew granting him full authority to represent us in America. By this time, Commandment Keepers Congregation Pillar of Ground in Truth had become a fully functional Orthodox Hebrew synagogue. So this is the letter, a part of the ordination. I can't read it all the way from here, but I know it says Quahar Beit B'nai Avraham. That's what it says at the top, right? So it was congregation of the house of the sons of Avraham. That in the middle is Amharic. I know that. That's from Ethiopia. To all whom may concern. This is to certify that our beloved brother, W. Matthew, so they got wow, wow, and the Aleph, I guess, is for the A. Matthew in Hebrew is duly ordained. What it said? You can read it, Matt? According to the laws and customs of ancient Israel, and pursuant to the laws of the Union of Ethiopian Hebrew Congregation in the United States of America, and is hereby authorized to perform all the duties of the set offer. Okay, so he could see it better than me over there. So this is part of the history. In addition to operating the synagogue in 1925, Rabbi Matthew started Ethiopian Hebrew Rabbinical College for the purpose of training others to become rabbis and Hebrew teachers. It was his dream to grow and strengthen our community, and he knew the best way to do that was through education and leadership. With that in mind, beginning in the 1940s, other branches of synagogue established under the guise of Rabbi Matthew and some of his rabbinical students in places like California, Chicago, Ohio, the West Indies, and Ghana, West Africa. Here in New York City, some of the congregations established were Kahal Bet B'nai Yisrael in Harlem by Rabbi McLeod and with Rabbi Yirmiyahu Yisrael. So Rabbi Yirmiyahu Yisrael is going to be very important to us because that's the branch that we come from. So he started out in Harlem at Kahal Bet B'nai Yisrael with Rabbi McLeod. Next congregation, Temple Zion in Harlem by Rabbi L. Samuels and Rabbi Dorset. So Rabbi L. Samuels is the father of a lady that's near and dear to me, Emma Judith Samuel, who I get she taught me a lot of this history by just sitting down and talking with her, and because she sat under Rabbi Matthew. As a child, she sat under Rabbi Matthew, and that was her father right here, Rabbi L. Samuels. That's her father, who was also a rabbi, who started the congregation Temple Zion in Harlem with Rabbi Dorset. B'nai Beit Yisrael in Brooklyn by Rabbi Yirmiyahu Yisrael. So this is the second congregation that he created. The first one was with Rabbi McLeod. That was called B'nai Yisrael, but this one he created on his own. Or he founded on his own. The Most High God blessed him. B'nai Beit Yisrael, which was located in Patchen and Green Avenues. They're going through some renovations at this time. You got Rabbi A. Moses and Rabbi J. Thomas merged their two synagogues to form Mount Horeb in the Bronx, which is still there. You got Beit Shalom in Brooklyn by Rabbi Levi ben Levi with the help of Rabbi C. Woods. So they're still there on Willoughby Avenue. You got Beit Hatfield in Queens by Rabbi Yehoshua ben Yohanatan, which later moved to Mount Vernon. I don't think they're still in existence. And Beit Elohim in Queens by the then Chief Rabbi Levi ben Levi, and that was the second congregation that he formed. So this right here, we're going to get to it. Commandment Keepers Synagogue will make his final move in 1962 to 1 West 123rd Street, a 5-story landmark brownstone in Harlem, New York. So this is the building right here, the 5-story brownstone. That's still there, but there was certain things that happened. This is not the day to get into that. I don't want to get into that. I just want to talk about the legacy and where we come from. But this was the building that they acquired in 1962. Now, from 1919 to 1962, it took them a while to get. Now, they were getting places, but they were renting. I believe, for most part, they were renting. I got to get that history, and I know Judah Samuel will correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe they were renting until they got enough to be able to purchase this. And if you ever go see this building is it's a great building, you know. I know Chief Meku been in there several times. I never got a chance to go in there, but he's been in there several times. So this was the building that they purchased. So just showing you from 1919 to 1962, it took them that while to get this, right? I'm not saying that it's going to take us that while to do something, but sometimes we lose patience, and sometimes you need some patience. In the meanwhile, he was making teachers. He was causing people to go out there. He was telling rabbis, after I make you a rabbi, it makes no sense for you to sit here and wait. Go open up, go fly, and then you bring in more people. That's what he would tell people, rabbis after he made them rabbis. There's no, like, what you going to do, sit underneath me here and you're a rabbi? Go out and build. So that's what we have to keep in mind, that we have to be out there building. Become fisher and a hunter, that's right. As we commemorate Rabbi Matthew, it is truly amazing to realize that he and his students created a community that survived and thrived through Jim Crow, the Great Depression, World War II, the Korean War, the Civil Rights Movement, Vietnam, and all of the horrible assassinations in our country, and even up and through recently COVID-19, a worldwide pandemic. It says here, sadly, our great and revered founder passed away on December 3rd, 1973. I wasn't even born yet. However, he left behind a tremendous legacy of synagogues, rabbis, leaders, community members that are still thriving today. And I believe during Corn Levy's interview that, not Corn Levy, Corn Mikhail interview, he said that Corn Levy will drive up there to see Rabbi Matthew, to see him, and Corn Mikhail said he took me to meet Rabbi Matthew. So even someone like Cohen would not burn that bridge that he came across. Why? Because it's important to understand where you come from. It's okay, you might have started here, but where you end is where, you know what I mean, where your legacy is all across your legacy is made, but where you end is where people are going to see where you stood at. So even though Corn Levy took a more radical turn in being an Israelite and understanding we only go on Torah only, right? He still didn't burn. He didn't say, all right, I came across this bridge, let me throw the bridge down. Why? Because people still keep coming across the bridge. And at the end of the day, we still just serve one God. Am I right or wrong? We serve one true and living God. It says here, the Rabbi Matthew Commemorative Committee is comprised of like-minded individuals whose mission and privilege it is to keep our late founder's memory and legacy alive in many different ways, one of which is to respect his great love of education by honoring the youth in our community who have graduated. Next year, we will resume acknowledging our graduates and awarding them scholarships in Rabbi Matthew's name. We welcome any volunteers in that effort. As is our Hebrew tradition, please remember Rabbi W.A. Matthews, Yazik Kislev, Kislu 8/57/85. That was his day of death. This year it will be the evening of December 8th through Monday, December 9th, 2024. Thank you. So this is coming from the Rabbi Matthew Committee, and we thank them. So this is Rabbi Matthew holding Torah scrolls. This is one of the most famous shots that you will see of Rabbi Matthew, right? So this is where you see him in his full strength and how he revered Torah and how he carried it. You got Rabbi Yirmiyahu, Ben Yadat Kobe Yisrael. Ben Yadat is where Corn Levy come from, like I said. You also have Mori Yosef come from Ben Yadat. So this is our history as we come down to here, right? Now you got Lewi Yisrael, Congregation Hashaba Yisrael, which was located in Brooklyn, New York at first, and then I believe they moved to Queens, Jamaica, right? Jamaica Avenue in Queens. So this is the founder of Congregation Hashaba Yisrael. Through him, we get CHOKMAH Lewi, the Hebrew family of Guyana, and they're all under the umbrella of Hashaba because CHOKMAH went out to Guyana because he was sent by Lewi. I believe it was a Lusaf fund that they had, Lusaf, that they went out there. And I believe Lusaf stood for what? Leave United States of America Fund. So the Lusaf was for him to go. Lewi told him, basically, I'm not going to go, but you're going to go. So the thing about CHOKMAH, the greatness about CHOKMAH, you heard about Jim Jones, right? CHOKMAH went there right after Jim Jones did what he did. So now you got another group of Americans coming to Guyana talking about the true and living God, and this madman from America just finished slaughtering thousands of people from America and from Guyana, hundreds of people, right? So you see the mountain that he had to climb. It wasn't easy. CHOKMAH had to go out there and do, at 26, 27 years old, a young man, he had to go out there, and things weren't that peachy at first, but he regulated it, and now he has a great community that the Most High God blessed him to lead out there, which is called the Hebrew family of Guyana. Sis, you from, our sister is from the Hebrew family of Guyana who's here with us. Hallelujah. More Mishal Naphtali, how can we leave the Moreh out? Kwahal Yisrael, he was a teacher, Kwahal, who was founded, or the founder of Kwahal Yisrael was Adon Boaz ben Zavulun. That's Chief David and Prince Yiftach's father. And Lewi's wife, Geveret Malka. That's their father. CHOKMAH's wife, Geveret Malka. So this man right here, he taught many of us Hebrew. A lot of the Hebrew came from Nasi Barak taught him. And he taught, in turn, taught a lot of people in Israel the Hebrew that so many of us practice today and read and learn. So this is one of the teachers that come from that branch through Lewi. Prince Zipporah ben Zavulun, Shema Yisrael Incorporated. Also one of the teachers that came through that branch. Also, you know, Lewi tells the story. He told the story. He tells the story about when he first came. He said, I know how to play the drums. Cohen said, bring the drums. He said, who I'm going to play with? He said, well, I teach by myself. You play by yourself. And after that, everybody joined in and they played. And after that, he went on to form Shema Yisrael, which was co-founded by Prince Yeriel ben Yissaskar also. You got Saul Haron Lewi, Hebrew family of Charlotte. So this is Saul Haron, also a branch of Hashaba Yisrael. This is the family in Charlotte that we're going to go and be with in a couple of more weeks. We're going to be down there praising and having good fun with them. So this is Saul Haron ben Lewi. This is the brother of CHOKMAH. And Prince Yeriel ben Yissaskar Beit Da'ak CHOKMAH BINAH. And that's the congregation that we're in, that we are in right now. So these are the branches that came forth from that tree. You have to know your history, right? You have to know your history, or else, you know what I mean, like you're going to repeat it in a negative way. So it's best to know your history. Don't let no one pull no wool over your eyes. There might be a couple of things here and there. If I got wrong, just call me, correct me, whatever it might be. But that's the gist of what we have here. So thank you all for listening. I pray that the Most High God, creator of heaven and earth, be with us all. Thank you, the Most High God. I hope that you got something out of the day, out of the lesson. And I pray that the Most High God will be with us all. Hallelujah. You want to close it out?